Hey guys, the word of the Lord today is stop smothering your gifts. You have smothered your gifts. You have muzzled yourself long enough. There are a lot of you that God has called you to do some things and you're just not doing it. Why? For fear of other people. You know, some of you, you're in ministries and you're in churches where you're keeping your mouth shut. You're keeping your mouth shut because you realize that in sharing your knowledge and in sharing the things that you know in your revelation is causing a rift between maybe the pastor and the leaders. They're thinking that you're trying to show up and show out and show up the pastor. And so what you're doing is you're keeping quiet. You know, I've done a familiar word before, and God is saying it's time to remove the muzzle from your lips, to remove the bridle that a lot of these leaders have put on you. And sometimes it could even be your family. You are keeping yourself quiet. You are suppressing the gifts and the anointings that God has placed in you. He's told you need to step out in certain things, but you're listening to the crowd. You're listening to the naysayers. And God is saying He's going to hold you accountable. I've placed my gifts and my anointings within you. I've placed my word within you. I've placed a vision inside of you. And God is expecting you to step out and do the things that He has called you to do. Stop looking to your left. Stop looking to your right. Stop looking that and saying, I'm in a wilderness. The Lord is saying, I'm able to cause rivers of waters to come out and to flow in the desert. But a lot of you are keeping your mouth shut. A lot of you are being oppressed. A lot of you are being suppressed. A lot of you are being held back. A lot of you are being overlooked. A lot of you are waiting on man's approval to say, I release you to go do this. But God is saying, will you dare to stand before me and say, they did not release me when I placed it in you? There's nothing for them to release. I've already released the gifts and the abilities and the anointing in you. It's already in you. It's already in you. God is saying it is already in you. What are you waiting for? Your release does not come from man. It comes from me, God says. And while sometimes you may need wisdom and you may need to get some agreement in the sense of, coming together and iron sharpening iron, God is saying sometimes there are things that I've placed within you that they will not see because it's not for them to see it, but for you to see it and to bring it into fruition according to my words. God is saying, yes, there's nothing wrong with listening to advice, but God is saying no advice shall override the fire and the anointing and the power and the God has placed within you the God that He has placed within you the push and the desire and the ability. He's placed it in you. He's put that beacon of light in you. He has answered your question. He's given it to you. And sometimes the reason why God is not going to allow them to be able to confirm anything is because He doesn't want you to be led and hindered by man. You need to be able, some of the things that God is calling you to do, you got to be able to have confidence in His word to push forward when it seems like there's a desert, when it seems like there's a drought, when it seems like there's a famine. Regardless of whatever everybody's saying, you have heard and you know the voice of God. It was only me when I spoke to Noah. I only spoke directly to Noah. I only spoke directly to Moses when he was by himself. I spoke directly to these men of God. I spoke only to Mary through the angel. And I spoke only to Joseph in a dream. God is saying He's speaking to you, but you're looking to people to validate, to confirm. God is saying, stop the suppression. Stop, take off the muzzle. Take off the chains. Take off the weights. It's time for you to write the book that I've told you to write. It's time for you to start the ministry I told you to start. It's time for you to step out in faith and do the things that I've told you to do. It's time for you to do the missions I've told you to do. It's time for you to open your mouth in the gates, in the cities, in the streets, like I told you to do. A lot of you, you're even stopped by your spouses. Oh, my spouse, God is saying, would you dare stand before me and say, God, I couldn't do the things that you told me to do because the woman that you gave me caused me to not be able to do the work. Will you repeat what Adam said to me? The woman you gave me caused me to sin, caused me to eat. Will you give the excuse and say the serpent, the words, the people told me this? Because you see, that's a serpent speaking through people who tries to keep you from doing the things of God and try to hold you hostage and tell you this is not your time. And you realize your time never comes. Every time your time is supposed to come, there's another time that your time needs to be delayed. But what God is saying, you are losing time. Time is going. Time is fleeting. Time is wasted enough. And he's giving you the grace. He's giving you the mercy and another chance to do the thing that I've called you to do. This is all the Lord is saying through me today. Get busy. Get started. This is the word of the Lord today, guys. Be blessed.